Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to another episode of Nerd Up. This week, I got Dalton Anthony.
Yo!
Ace Gray.
Yes.
And I'm your host, Jesse Kimball. And this is the first Monday night. Hopefully you guys weren't too lost without us yesterday, and you had patiently waited for the Monday night show. So far, I like doing it on Mondays. So far, seems like a nice choice, because Sunday I didn't have to do anything.
That was lovely.
That was awesome.
I was off from the store, and I did some homework. Felt good. Wasn't rushed. Found out that I still turned in stuff late, so I had to email Professor. Fortunately, he's going to take it for credit, because it was like 60% of my grade, apparently. Why did people do that? But yeah, no, it was nice. Like, I like this format a lot of doing it on Monday.
I'm a fan. We did D&D yesterday with Hunter in his new game room, and that was pretty cool. We got to do the Weird West. That was neat. And then I didn't have to worry about, at any point, like, I didn't have to try to schedule time to write up the show or rush back here to start recording or anything like that. It was nice. It's nice having my Sunday just free.
And we won't feel rushed at the end of it if it's just like, oh, we got to open up the store.
Right. Like,
we're closed on Mondays.
Mm-hmm. And we were able to get here early because we're closed on Mondays. So it's
going to be good. We're
going
going
to
have
the evening after this to do whatever.
We can go get Taco Bell and it not be completely packed afterwards, Asa.
No, I have to go work out.
Oh, never mind. Asa's going to go work out. I'm going to go be fat.
He's going to do the exact opposite.
Literally first time this month.
Yeah.
I've skipped so much.
It's the 8th. That's not that bad.
I saw a Twitch video.
No, it's bad.
I saw a Twitch video from Stride this weekend, and I'm like, I need to start doing sit-ups again. I'm getting a little chubby.
So anyway, moving past our workout habits, I guess. Onto the actual topic of the show. Stranger Things season 3 hit on July 4th, and I ended up binging the entire season in one day. I didn't mean to. I wanted to spread it out, but I didn't have anything to do Saturday morning, so I just started watching Stranger Things. And then I didn't stop until it was over. And it was great. Have you, AC, you still haven't even watched season 2, right?
Nope.
Okay, and obviously, Dalton is anti-Netflix, despite owning a subscription.
I also own a gym membership. We go back a minute and a half. Obviously, I'm an irresponsible spend monster with good spending habits. When it comes to that, I just don't use them. Like Netflix, I can watch what I want.
Stranger Things season 3 is awesome. I don't necessarily think for the fans out there, it's not as good as season 1, but it's definitely better than season 2. I say that as someone that did enjoy season 2 quite a bit. Stranger Things at this point, though, is becoming one of those shows where like there's very little they can do wrong for me. I just really, really like everything about the show. Mm-hmm. The aesthetic, the music, the content, like the idea, like it's all just great to me. I sit back and I can enjoy the ride. So maybe my opinion's not exactly what you're looking for because, yeah.
Or maybe it is. We don't need to be jerks on every review. Like
it's true. It's just one of those things. Like basically, what I'm getting at is maybe I have trouble being critical of the show.
All right, so what's one thing that you wish they would have done different, or one thing that like you'd be like, this would be better if, or can you legit not think of one
for season 3?
Yeah, the one that you just watched.
I can't really think of one. Like there are certain things that like. If they would like the only things that I would have had them change would have been purely for fan service and wouldn't actually benefit the story in any way. There's a little bit of a cliffhanger at the end of the series that I'm a little bummed happened, but I'm sure it's going to get season 4 because Stranger Things is one of the most popular things on Netflix. So I'm sure I'll get that answer in the next season. But yeah.
And if this gets into spoiler territory, because I don't know if it will or not, how is it addressing the fact that, like, these kids are old now? Like, they are just full-on teenagers at this point, aren't they?
Yeah, they're all, like, 16, 17.
But are they, like, has that age progression happened on the show, or are they still trying to play, like, 13-year-olds?
I would say, like, they all seem kind of like they're trying to play, like, 15-year-olds.
Okay.
Which, they're all young enough looking still that like 15 16-year-old like between that age range is still realistic. Minus Finn Wolford is almost 6 foot tall now.
That's all right. We all have one friend, and And I do too, and I'll call them out in a second. We all have one friend from freshman to sophomore year that shot up 1.5 feet. That would be Derek.
Well, yeah.
Where it's just like we were at eye level, and then summer happened, and I guess he only ate Miracle Grow, and like now I have to look up to talk to him.
Well, I mean, it's actually like extra perfect for the Ninja Sex Party song.
Oh yeah,
Danny, don't you know?
He's just the cool version of that guy.
Well, Finn, like, it's just perfect because Finn Wolford does look like he's walking around like a newborn deer. Because he massive growth spurt from season 2 to now.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it took them that long to film it, but
At least it didn't happen while they were filming. Like, because especially if they film out of order. So like.
episode 2, he's 6 foot. Episode 6,
season finale, he's back down to like 5'5", like he's the same height as 11.
Oh, that would be funny. But I mean, they used a lot of camera angles where he didn't look like he was towering above everybody else. But I mean, he's very clearly taller than everybody else.
Mm-hmm. We cut out 6 inches of the floor so you could stand there.
They had him stand way closer to the camera. They reverse Tom Cruised him.
So yeah, it's fine. Like that didn't bug me at all. Basically, I very much got the feeling of they didn't address at all like what grade they were in or anything like that. Because I mean, it's summer vacation,
and it's not a thing that it's not a thing that's gonna like keep me from watching the show or anything. I just remember, okay, so season 1, they are straight up like 13 years old, and then season 2 happened, and like they still roughly looked kind of the same, at least from what I remember. Because again, I've only seen like the first episode.
Yeah, no, they still look real similar.
2. But now, like season 3, like seeing them do interviews and stuff, it's like, oh no, these are teenagers now. Like they drove themselves to set probably.
Yeah,
and you can't have them still be 13. So I just didn't know if they were if they were trying to hide the fact that they're growing, or if that's just become part, like it's just being incorporated in the story.
It's one of those things like they didn't address it one way or the other.
Okay.
Like I said, just
as long as it didn't as long as it wasn't like oh no, they are clearly trying to play way younger than they're supposed to be.
No, that's not the feeling I got.
Okay.
Other than, like I said, whenever they were filming, at the very least, Finn would have been 16. So yeah, like, and I think that that's the age range they're going for, is like between the 14 to 16 area, is the way they were playing the characters. Because they were starting like there's like some relationship drama for other reasons, and
I know that happened in like season 2 for sure. Started,
yeah,
because there was the redhead girl that they were all like in love with.
Yes, Max.
Sure.
I think that's her name.
He knows the story.
But anyway, like that's still obviously a thing in season 3, and yeah, I don't. Yeah, so I guess to answer your question is just that they didn't address it one way or the other.
Okay.
But they definitely did not have them clearly trying to be.
And like I said, I don't care that they don't address it, just as long as they weren't trying to actively avoid the hard truth of what was happening around them.
Yeah, no, they definitely did not do that.
That's cool.
At the very least. So yeah, no, so in general though, Stranger Things season 3 absolutely worth watching. I mean, if you canceled your Netflix subscription, maybe throw it back on there, give that a watch real quick, because it's worth, if you binge it inside a month, it's definitely worth the $11 that's going to cost you. So yeah, that's the Stranger Things. Spider-Man: Far From Home came out on Tuesday last week. All 3 of us have seen that, so I'll have some company here. All right, Dalton, you look the most excited to talk. So what's your nerd up review?
Go watch it now, full price. Pay double if you have to. It's so good.
Asa?
Full price.
And that's going to be a resounding full price, though everybody at Spider-Man knew what I was going to say.
It's the best Spider-Man 2 we've ever gotten.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, and I love the Andrew Garfield movies, and that
No, I mean that's actually really high praise, because Raimi's Spider-Man 2
that's Spider-Man 2, yeah.
Widely considered.
I think it was someone from Funhouse maybe talking about, all right, we closed out the trilogy of Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, because that was Spider-Man 2 is widely considered, like Raimi's Spider-Man 2 is one of the best Spider-Man features to hit screens. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so that's high praise for Mesa Gray, because I think he was.
No, I mean the MC. Like I like the Raimi movies more than the Garfield movies. Not even close. Like that.
It's still another league.
It's T-ball in the MLB.
No, fair enough.
And then the MCU is like, if the MLB, it's the MLB before like they let black people start playing. Like
And
it's
then-
from the 40s,
Yeah.
and now the MCU is like today.
Jackie Robinson's allowed to play now.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Now like Jackie Robinson stepping up to bat, and it's like, oh no. You mean what? You mean what's possible? I didn't think people were capable of this.
I don't know why that's so funny to me.
I don't either.
It's just a weird comparison.
But no, it's. I mean, you have the evolution of just like, because as you know, performers go. It's like, you know, we talk about it in pro wrestling all the time.
Yeah.
Like the stuff that is happening now would blow the minds of people at the carnivals, you know, in the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like, look at, you know, the all-time hit record. Like those records just continuously get broken because people are just getting better and better.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not fair to compare like what the MCU is doing now versus what Raimi was doing
in the early 2000s.
In the early 2000s.
Well, yeah, you can do more now.
But like, I mean, this is the MCU Spider-Man movies have been like, they are 2 for 2, and like, let's see what 3 happens, and let's see what influenced Sony. Like, you know, all right, well, no, we have to have Tom Hardy's Venom in here.
Well, I think Sony's really happy that they don't have to do a whole lot of work for these movies. Because it's a lot of just like they're using the MCU skeleton,
Right.
putting it there. Because it's one of those, like, you see Sony, and I'm just like, that is the best business choice that any movie company's ever made.
Because Sony's literally doing nothing for this. Like
Yeah.
they're letting Marvel use Spider-Man,
They're leasing.
and they're cashing the check. Mm-hmm. Like they are doing nothing.
They own the car. They're just letting you drive it.
Because obviously Kevin Feige is still the big executive producer of it. Like he's still deciding what the story is going to be, and that's one of the things that, you know, we talked about it with the previews. That is something that was addressed that I'm really happy about. I'm not going to spoil Endgame at all or Spider-Man at all, but the events of Infinity War and Endgame, I was really worried that was just going to be in Far From Home, glossed over. None of that happened.
It was a little glossed over. Like, they very much did not answer the question of, because we got the scene, like one of the first scenes in Far From Home, where it explains it's the snap in the blip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a lot of questions coming out of the blip that they totally just are like, that's not what we're going to talk about today. I don't think they're going to talk about it.
I mean, possibly not, because they talked about
and I hope that they do, because they mentioned enough about it. Like there was the funny like Aunt May line about like when she blipped, and like, and they kind of, but they touched on it just enough to like that they had to mention it. But again, like, there's. I can't get into much. I can't say much more because then it gets
into
spoilery.
spoilers.
We needed video again for just that moment.
But like, I don't know. I had issues with the movie. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I did not think this was a like perfect MCU movie. I didn't think this was a perfect superhero movie. It had one of my favorite sequences the MCU has ever done. Mm-hmm. And yes, I remember the last 40 minutes of Endgame. Like, this is, for me, this is up there with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, I think I mentioned on the pre-show, like, the movie didn't really start until like an hour in.
It did seem like it was a pretty good while
like
before you get hit with the quote unquote plot twist.
It was mostly a Peter Parker movie for the first hour, which I'm totally fine with, and I enjoy that, and I enjoy what they did.
Yeah, because they were doing Peter Parker, and they were talking about the blip as explained in the movie. This isn't a big spoiler or anything.
No,
that's
we're
what
literally
they
just
call,
using a term.
Yeah, that's what they call the period of time between
the 5 years.
Yeah, the 5 years when everybody was snapped out.
Oh, actually, okay. So Kevin Feige clarified the snap is when it happened.
Yeah,
The blip is when they came back.
Yeah.
I thought the blip was just the
That's
5
what Kevin
years.
Feige said.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
that was just
and that's how I read into it, was the snap happened. And the reason that nobody calls it the snap is because literally nobody knows how it happened.
Yeah.
And then the blip, like, that's why it's referred to as the blip.
I just saw the interview on IGN, like, while we were in between the pre-show and now.
Yeah.
Which is fair. Like, I imagine that's at the very least that's what Kevin Feige wants, like, us as an audience to believe it to be. But yeah, like, whatever it is in the movie, like, that event, them all returning, whether it's the period of time gone or everything else, it was the blip.
Yeah.
The blip. They came back and they call it the blip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the film. So yeah, that was one of those things. Like, a lot of it was addressing the The big thing that happens at the end of Endgame, that was a big part of the first part of it. And then, like addressing the blip, how that impacted a lot of the students, how that impacted...
That's almost exclusively all how it impacted, was just the students and May.
Yeah, because we got a couple of like little stories about like, just kind of funny little like things about people coming back. Like, I came back and I was in an apartment and this guy's wife thought that they were cheating, like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that line was funny.
See, I mean, there's some little stuff like that of just like this is how this impacted like everyday folks, but yeah, most of it was how it impacted the students.
Mm-hmm. Which is fine, and that's the story that you're telling, and that's what you need to focus on. Like, yeah. I absolutely get that. I really hope that they kind of, and I don't think that they're going to, especially with like the time jump with Endgame, and they're literally just like, okay, half the world's population is gone, but we're just kind of moving on. Like everything's still fine for the most part. Like they really, like I thought they were going to explore that a lot more than they did. So I kind of think like this is what we're getting. Especially because, like, the next, 3 movies that we know we're going to get, one's a prequel, and then Shang-Chi. I don't know, that might not be, like, one of the next 3.
Because we still don't know what the next movies are,
Shang-Chi
for sure.
and Eternals. I would put money that it's the Black Widow prequel is the next one.
Or Black Panther 2.
That's coming, and so is, like, Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah, because we know, like, what's down the pipeline, but we don't know...
what the order is.
Right, because we've gotten our 3 movies this year, and that's all that Marvel wants to put out is 3 movies a year. So we've gotten our 3 this year. We have no idea what the 3 movies in 2020 are going to be. Mm-hmm. We just know, like, roughly the movies that are coming.
My prediction for what 2020 is going to be is the Black Widow movie, Doctor Strange 2, and a new IP. Either Eternals or Shang-Chi.
I'm thinking we're going to get the Eternals at the end of, like, that'll be our 3rd movie in 2020. Mm-hmm. That's my guess. 'Cause I think you're on the money with the first 2 guesses for sure. But you never know with Marvel. Like they're
going to do what they want.
They're going to do what they want, and we're going to pay for it.
I would be happy if it was Spider-Man, 3, just whatever the home version. It's going to have home in it. Yeah. But like
Homecoming again.
Spider-Man can't go home. Like something like that. I don't know.
Oh man. It's one of those like I can't think of, and I'm not, it could be a new movie, but it's one of those, like, I feel like this set, like, these 2 movies, like, it's the perfect Spider-Man story they're telling. And even with, like, the whole, they could have delved way more into the snap and blip stuff, I felt like it was good enough because, like, they said it was, like, this is going to be the epilogue to Endgame.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I am fully satisfied with what they gave me.
Oh, yeah, no, like I said, like, I fully enjoyed the movie, and as an epilogue to Endgame, 100%.
Yeah.
It's just, there are things that we saw in Endgame that, like, and then the way they explained it back, I'm just like, ooh, you got some questions there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically, like, I'm kind of with you in that I wanted the movie to be an extra half hour of just like, this is other things.
I don't know if I would need it to be that much longer, because this was already a 2-hour movie, and it.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, no, I don't want the movie to be any longer because it was over 2 hours. It was like
2 hours 9 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
You already got time. I'm not gonna check.
So yeah, no, I don't want the movie to be any longer. But like for those questions to be answered, I feel like it would have had to have been. Mm-hmm. For several questions that I had anyway, that I would just like accept it as like, okay, they're definitely not going to cover this in this movie if it happens at all. Mm-hmm. But again, like I'm just happy that it was addressed. Because my biggest fear going into this film, like before we got the previews and stuff, was that it was just going to be that happened. Didn't impact any of us at all, like in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, no, like I knew it kind of had to, especially with it's like, okay, so it was his like entire class.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people.
The main players of that class.
Yeah.
Because at least the people that are important to this movie, because we've got... well, no, I'm not going to say who because I guess that's like, a little bit of a spoiler.
If you saw Homecoming, you know who you know.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Anybody that got a name. Because there were a couple of characters that they did mention that aged. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, there were a couple of new additions to their class.
Oh, right. God.
That were little kids, but now, like, it was that 5 years hit. And,
yeah. Now they're just in the class with them.
Mm-hmm. JB Smoove low-key stole the show for me in that movie. The other professor. Or the other teacher.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Hannibal was busy. Like,
I forgot he was in that movie. Oh God,
He was the
garbage
coach.
person.
yeah.
But like,
But he's a war criminal now, so I don't know. We're just gonna watch it.
because which and granted, like that's a personal thing because I'm not a huge JB Smoove fan, like in general.
Yeah,
And
but
he didn't add anything. Like Martin Starr was all you needed, and then JB Smoove shows up and just has like one or two lines
That are just pretty great.
that are just
but
kind of there. But it's like that could have been Hannibal.
Yeah.
I
also-
actually, it was one of those things though. Like I would have liked Hannibal to have been a like a chaperone for that trip, but it wouldn't have made any sense as the PE coach to do like the very specifically science.
It's a science school.
I mean, it is, but
And,
he's
like,
still the
my-
gym coach.
Oh yeah, he has the most thankless job at that. That's why he didn't go. He was just like, I'm just gonna let him play dodgeball.
Like, and granted, maybe it's just because my schools have always been weird, but like I've never had a dedicated gym coach. They've always taught something else.
Oh, I had coaches. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like in the public
In actual schools.
in all three of the high schools that I attended, there were dedicated gym coaches that
Okay.
didn't teach anything
Now,
else.
the ones
unless
that
you
were-
count one gym coach also taught health at Cape Central.
Health was the main one that usually crossed over.
But health was only like one class a day because it was very specific. Like health you took as a junior, I think, in the first semester. So that was the only time like he had one health class per day, maybe two health classes per day, and it was all just juniors.
But like, but the football coach was very much the social studies teacher.
Yeah.
Like that's the one that I'm like, yeah, no. I was gonna say something. Thought process. Oh, Martin Starr. I've also went back and watched the debate episode, or not the debate episode. The Community. The I forgot which one it was, but the one that he was in, that he was the professor, where it was like the world things.
The Model
Yeah.
UN?
There it is, yeah. And I was like, oh, anytime he's a teacher, it's gold.
Oh, anytime he's on screen, it's gold. He's fantastic in
Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, he is probably like, especially as the show went on, he became like him and Kumail Nanjiani were definitely like the best parts of that show. Because I'm caught up on it at this point, those two are the only reasons that I keep watching the show.
Yeah.
Because the lead character is obnoxious. TJ Miller is mostly unseen, but not fun to watch when he's on the screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, those two though, fantastic. Always enjoyable.
Did you guys like Vulture or Mysterio more as a villain in these movies?
Ooh.
Yeah, because that was the whole thing. Like, I was like, I felt like it was the most perfect Spider-Man movie, but then I thought about Vulture, and I'm like, I can't tell you which one I like more. I think I'm still on Vulture's side, on like
I think
enjoying more.
It's hard to compare the two because they're two wildly different villains.
Yeah.
Like they have wildly different motivations. They have wildly different relationships to Peter. Like, so like I don't know. I don't.
Because in my opinion, like Mysterio had better scenes, but Vulture was definitely like the more
But
developed
But
character.
I also
Yeah.
didn't like. I never cared about Vulture even a little bit ever in
And you
any
love
version of
Mysterio,
Spider-Man. Whereas this is like, oh crap, you took a C-level nobody and made him totally awesome. Whereas, in fairness, I understand that Mysterio is also a C-level nobody, and they made him totally awesome. But like he was fun, but he was already kind of like he was too goofy to not be awesome.
Yeah.
Like in the comics and like any other version. Whereas like Vulture was just an old man who used young kids to like steal stuff for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, later retconned to midgets.
Yep.
But yeah,
Which one's more offensive?
definitely the children.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. To me it's they're you can't really compare them.
Well, it was one of those. So like I was going through the
But
movie.
I liked Vulture's motivations more. But yeah, I agree with Jesse in that Mysterio had cooler scenes, and as a bad guy, he was cooler and way more effective.
yeah.
But also that wasn't like they did not have the same goals.
No.
Yeah.
Vulture was not trying to do like this grand scale type thing. He was literally just trying to like, I'm just trying to steal this stuff to help my family and my guys.
Yeah. Whenever I was talking to Say, I was like, I love Mysterio in it, but it's that thing where like, yes, Mysterio definitely had the cooler scenes, but overall, Vulture had the coolest scene at the prom, where he just turns around, and I'm like,
That was still just one of the most tense moments in cinema.
that-
Oh yeah, the reveal was like, and again, we didn't really get something like that with Mysterio to that
No.
level.
Yeah.
His reveal scene was awesome, but like it wasn't the same.
And I think that's the one where I'm just like, I love Far From Home. I cannot praise that movie enough, but it's one of those like, I still think I enjoyed Homecoming more, just because I think I enjoyed Vulture way more as a villain.
Yeah,
but it could just be
which is fair.
Yeah,
it could just be the more personal
Yeah.
story.
because this is one of those things. Like they're both like, there's not one that is an objectively better film.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Homecoming was incredible. Far From Home also incredible. Like they're just solid.
Yeah,
movies.
it's LeBron James and Kobe Bryant. Which one's better? You can argue either.
But yeah, like I very much think that like yeah, Vulture was just what's
No, I think Homecoming as a whole was better, but Mysterio was so awesome. Because again, like I said, like it kind of felt like the movie didn't really like it didn't become a. Homecoming did a good job of melding Peter and Spider-Man. They never really felt separate. Whereas, granted, the point of Far From Home a little bit is that dichotomy between Peter wanting to be able to be Peter, but also knowing he has to be Spider-Man.
Yeah.
yep.
And so that kind of plays a part into it.
Yeah,
but it
really balancing that whole high school
but
superhero kid.
That first hour, like especially for the Spider-Man parts, where it's just like, okay, I know where we're going. Let's just
Get there.
This
See,
is unnecessary a little bit.
I was hooked, and like I get what you're saying. I was hooked the entire time.
Don't get me wrong. Like I entirely enjoyed it. Like at no point during that first hour was like, oh man, how long is this gonna go? Like when are we getting? It wasn't like that. It was just that in the back of my mind there was just that little bit of an itch.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and that's fair. Like I definitely didn't have that. Like I was. It was just one of those things. Like I can't really say like a whole lot about how that first hour was impacted without spoiling anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
That's the really hard part about this review.
yeah, because it's the thing. Email me at what was you talking about at podzilla1985.com and I'll let you know. Yeah. We're gonna move on past it though. Also, real quick, if you didn't see, they did add the 2 costumes from Far From Home into the Spider-Man PS4 game for free, so you can jump on that bad boy, download those costumes, and start going with that. Like Ace is trying to fight a fly here, and it's not working.
Oh,
Now it's
Oh
coming
no,
to
I'm
me.
just shooting him. It worked. He is now bothering you.
Yep, that is accurate. It worked. Okay.
Let him hit the table one time. I've already killed one during this show. I'll get another.
All right. So speaking of Disney printing money, we got the Mulan trailer.
Looked awesome.
Yeah, I'm for it.
I didn't watch it. It only because like. Am I crazy in thinking that these live action movies are now coming? It feels like we're getting stuff like every other week.
It does feel a little bit like that. Yeah.
Well, I
Because
think
like Aladdin just came out. We've got the look at the Lion King. Now we're already getting the Mulan trailer. Like,
well, weren't we?
And then we're getting announcements about Little Mermaid, which more than that coming up in a second. Yeah, no, it definitely.
Yeah. They're like that was the other big story was they cast Ariel, and then like we got a Maleficent trailer, which granted that's a separate thing and like a whole other. That's not they're not remaking a
Right, but it's still one of the Disney
but
live
it's a
action.
live
movies.
action.
So yeah, looking at this, it's one of those things where you're sitting here thinking like, boy, I'm, praise Kevin Feige that we are only getting 3 MCU movies a year.
I disagree. Like let's pep out these MCU movies at this clip. And then we'll do 3 live action Disney movies a year because I don't really like. I still have not seen a single one of them. When I will probably end up seeing Aladdin because that's really the only one that's come out so far that I care about because like I've never been a huge Dumbo or Jungle Book person. Like I get that they're good. I just
see. I love Beauty and the Beast.
Disney didn't do Dumbo,
Beauty
did they?
Beauty and the Beast. There was a Dumbo one.
There was a Dumbo one.
Is
but
that
I
not
don't think
Disney?
I don't think Disney did that.
I'm
one.
on it. Just
I mean, I could
you
be,
guys keep talking.
I could be wrong, but I kind of lump it into the same. Like, okay, we're doing a live action of just a like cartoon.
Yeah, classic.
movie.
Yeah, classic.
Oh, Disney's Dumbo. It's Disney and then Dumbo.
Oh, fair enough. So
Yeah.
Disney. So yeah, I knew like Disney did Dumbo,
Mm-hmm.
like the original cartoon, but I didn't think. I thought it was one of those things where it fell out into public domain or something.
See,
and somebody grabbed it.
Oh no. Something from Disney at public domain. That's why we're changing our public domain laws every 5 years.
That frozen head is just making new rules.
Well, we've got like I think it was last year for the first time in like 15 years stuff started entering the public domain.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if maybe Dumbo was one of them. Because I know it's like the original
It's like
IP
Snow
is
White
real
is the only
old.
one that's maybe not the only one. I don't know.
Snow White was in I think public domain when Disney grabbed it.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, like so it's still like anybody can do a Snow White story. It's just that it becomes difficult to market because reasons. Anywho,
But like the live action ones for me, and they have because like when you think about it, they have been pumping them out a lot. But like the only ones that I'm going to see are the ones that I actually genuinely care about. Because like I haven't seen Jungle Books. I never really liked that movie. I was never a big Aladdin person. Like a lot of these movies I'm only watching because I've seen them in Kingdom Hearts or I know them from Kingdom Hearts, but like I'm not going out of my way to watch the movie. Fortunately for me, that I wanted to see Beauty and the Beast, and that was 2 to 3 years ago, and I wanted to see Lion King. So like that fatigue of just like, man, they're doing these a lot really isn't hitting me because I'm not going and watching them.
And
I'm not either, and I'm still just like, man, we are hearing about these all day.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. Like, if we got Marvel at that clip, like it would become one of those things where we would start picking and choosing what Marvel movies we're gonna see.
I would not,
because
if they kept the quality. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that they could do this at this clip. And granted, we have only had like 3 come out: Aladdin, Dumbo, Jungle Book, and Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. Those
So
those are the 4 that we've had so far.
And that they
And the
started
first one was-
like 2 years ago, a year ago.
No.
Jungle Book came out like in 2015, I think.
Has it been that long?
I'll check, but
pretty
yeah, no,
sure.
because
It might have been. I don't know.
Beauty and the Beast was 2017 because
Okay.
that was my first year at
But
my
then,
job.
like after those 2 started making a whole lot of money, suddenly they started announcing them like crazy.
Right, and maybe that's just what we're getting. Like they're not actually coming out crazy. It's just all of these, like the news is just hitting faster and faster.
2016 was Jungle Book, so we've had 4 in 3 years. That's not
Okay.
horrible.
Yeah, no.
But
So,
yeah, we definitely have here lately though. But
give
like
me MCU news. Then.
Yeah.
they're just since they're ramping up.
You got a whole
basically.
phase
Yeah,
Tell me about-
they're making money. They were like, we're going to do the first couple and space them out, and if we're making money, we're going to Disney it, which is fine. Like, that's a fine business practice if that's what you want to do.
So back to Mulan though.
yeah.
No, I'm pumped for this movie. I really, really want to see this movie. Mulan is one of my favorites as a kid.
Yeah.
And I mean, as well as they did with Aladdin, like I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with Mulan. I do wish that we would have gotten to see Mushu in that trailer.
Oh, God.
Because I'm real nervous about because the trailer made it look like it's going to be a pretty serious tone.
Well, they said they're cutting a lot of the musical aspects of it, didn't they?
Yeah. But I mean, they're keeping a few of they're keeping a bit of the music, but it's definitely not going to be near as music heavy as the original animated movie was.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit of a bummer because Mulan is like, as far as Disney soundtracks go, like that's top tier for me.
Yeah.
Like some of my favorite Disney songs of all time came out of Mulan.
I bet Mushu's going to look like the little Game of Thrones dragon whenever he popped out of the egg.
That'd be unfortunate. I need Mushu to be goofy.
You really think he's going to look goofy, though?
No, he's not. I don't need him to look goofy because even Mushu didn't look goofy. He just looked like a traditional Chinese dragon, just really tiny.
This could be wrong, and I could have misread it. But did I see that he's not going to be a dragon? He's going to be a phoenix.
I did not see that, so I have no idea one
I
way
will
or the
look
other.
that up. Also, they have announced a boatload of Disney movies.
Yeah.
I had no idea about, but the only ones with release dates are Lion King, which is this month, the Maleficent sequel, which is in October of this year, and then Mulan is in March of 2020. But
Yeah,
then those are the only ones that have set dates.
Because I think we're gonna start seeing minimum 3 per year of these live action remakes.
Yeah, because like what you just kind of said is like when we get excited for Marvel movies, where it's like, all right, we have this movie, this movie, this movie, and they're spaced out 4 to 5 months apart.
Well, I mean, in fairness, the last few years, all of the
Marvel movies
MCU
hit it
movies
once.
have been in the first half of the year.
Yeah,
Which
that's so unfortunate because
yeah,
I would
'cause
like stuff.
we
spread
then have
out.
to wait 6 months before we get any more Marvel stuff, or longer, because in Ant-Man and Wasp was our last one in 20.
Well, Captain Marvel was.
That was the last one in 2018. Captain Marvel was the first one in 2019. That came out March this year. So
Then we've had Endgame and Spider-Man since.
yeah. So we had
Jesus.
because I think Ant-Man and Wasp was July last year.
It was July or June because I had Facebook memory of Steak Night.
Yeah, there you go. And
So I think it was July last year.
and we saw it on Steak Night. So yeah, we had July last year. That we didn't get another MCU movie until March of this year, which just. And then we got March, April, and then July for this year. But we're now probably not going to get another one until March of next year.
Yeah,
Just
which with them
less
not
than
announcing
ideal.
anything really starting to make me worried. But we have
I mean,
Comic-Con
we're
coming
definitely getting more stuff. We just
But I'm
it'll
sure-
probably be announced at Comic-Con.
I'm sure, like we've talked about it, but like I didn't know that there was going to be a Lady and the Tramp live action movie.
I did
Yep.
not know that
Snow
one.
White, Cruella, Pinocchio, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, Prince Charming, Oliver Twist. Like really?
Yup.
James and the Giant Peach, Tink,
That
Peter-
one's gonna be horrifying in
Peter-
live action.
Peter Pan, The Sword and the Stone. Like all of these have been like not necessarily officially announced, but they are in there are pre-production work like
being done.
Yeah.
James and the Giant Peach was weird in like the 3D like animation they had back in the day.
That movie messed
Like,
with me.
That is going to be horrifying
I
in
won't
live
watch it.
action.
I won't watch it again. Like the actual movie.
I loved the book and the movie when I was a kid. Like that was one of like my mom's favorite books to read to us whenever we were kids.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie was really cool too. But yeah, no, I cannot like that grasshopper. Like it's gonna be terrifying in live action.
Don't mess with Pixar.
Right. So yeah, so the Mulan trailer though definitely looks like they're going for a more serious tone, which could be a little bit of a bummer. But the action sequences look like they're going to be awesome. Like I said, I do want to see Mushu because I love that little dragon.
Yeah.
We didn't see any of the cricket either. Basically, we got to see a few fight scenes and them putting the makeup on her, telling her about the matchmaker. And that's really all we got to see. And then there's some weird article talking about Disney bowing to Chinese nationalism, which I did not get even in the slightest. People, the internet is weird.
Yeah.
News outlets are weird.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we talked a little bit about, the live action Little Mermaid.
Speaking
that's
of
very
outlets.
much in, that's very much in production. And we did get the Ariel casting choice, which is Halle Bailey. I did it, guys.
You did it.
I did it.
Sitting on the edge of my seat during the entire Spider-Man conversation, be like, is he going to say Halle Bailey right? Because I almost just messed it up too.
It's easy to do. So Halle Bailey, she's in Grownish, the TV show, like apparently some sort of musical act. I don't know if we ever figured out what that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, either way, she's been cast as Ariel, which I'm fine with. I don't care one way or the other. Like the ethnicity of my live action Disney characters, I'm going to enjoy the movie. The one thing that I do demand is that King Trident is now played by Terry Crews.
See,
I know it's more of a serious character. Like
I would be happy with Idris Elba.
I would also be fine with Idris Elba. However, I will accept that as the consolation to Terry Crews as King Trident. I need that in my life.
If there's a third choice, I will take The Rock. I had to think of a third one. I'm like, all right, well, those two, and I will take Dwayne Johnson. Yes, that's the third. I'm also definitely gonna go see Hobbs and Shaw now.
You saw the preview for it?
I did.
I'm gonna just shamelessly go and
I
enjoy the crap out of that movie.
I have two of the movie cups.
It's one for Hobbs, one for Shaw. No, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's she is black, and the internet did not enjoy that. Parts of the internet did not enjoy that.
Historically, we know our mermaids are typically, it's biology, Jesse.
They have to be white.
They look more manatee-esque historically.
So why? Because that's what some people are thinking.
There was someone who tweeted something like, I don't care what color my mermaid is, as long as she's luring sailors to their deaths.
My whole thing was just like, because I had to look into her a little bit, because I saw it and I'm like, I don't even know who that is. And then I heard her singing.
The name before.
I heard her singing and I'm like, okay, because you know what? To Ariel, the only thing I care about is if she can sing.
Because
I'd heard of her because of that Chloe and Haley, or Chloe Cross Haley, whatever it's Chloe X Haley is the name of the group. But whatever, they did a national anthem or Star Spangled or America the Beautiful or something at a major event relatively recently. Might have been a WrestleMania or a wrestling thing.
I have a feeling that you're right, but go ahead. I'll let you keep.
But I will admit, and I'm not proud of it, I had a very negative, very visceral reaction when I read who was going to be Ariel, because I 100% read Halle Berry.
Yeah.
And was like, you have got to be f***ing kidding me. Halle Berry is a 16-year-old mermaid? No. Get out of here. And then I reread it, and I was like, wait a minute. That's not... this makes way more sense. Wait, who is that? Click on the link, read, or go through, oh, okay.
And then Asa was fine.
And it was cool.
I read it, and I was like, Halle Berry... Because I did the same thing, but it was just like... That's a choice. This is very much not.
I did not read it that way because Asa prefaced the whenever he sent it to the big group chat was like, so definitely read this as Halle Berry for a second. Basically, he gave the snippet version of that story in the group chat. I was like, so that is not Halle Berry, that is Halle Bailey.
Yeah,
substantially younger.
And WrestleMania 34.
Substantially younger.
Hell, that was the one we were at.
Sure.
No, it was. That was last year's.
No.
We've seen her. All right, I'm on board.
Maybe that's why you didn't recognize her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you were, where you guys were at, it's pretty far away.
Yeah, I couldn't see her. I was too busy loving.
Closer to the ocean, though.
That's true.
Where do mermaids live?
Right off that.
The ocean. I don't know. No, it's fine. It's fine. Like I'm very much of the like I've kind of chilled on my like. I don't like it when they, taking established characters and like even with like the Marvel stuff, like we kind of talked about on Sunday, like where it's, Jane Foster was Thor for a while, Sam Wilson is like Cap. Like,
yeah, basically
I've chilled out on my like because for the longest time, like I was just like, no, that's not. But Steve Rogers is Captain America. Come on. But like I don't know. I've chilled out on my how staunchly I held those beliefs, and now still like this is cool that like. A generation of little girls is going to be able to look at a Disney princess and be able to
relate to them
and be able to relate to them in a way that like, which that was my favorite response that we talked about on Sunday is just like, all right, well, if she gets to be Ariel, then
we're going to get a white girl for...
Tiana has to be played by Emma Stone. And I'm probably not getting that the name right from Princess and the Frog.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what? Yeah, let's trade. Every black Disney princess can be played by a white girl. If every white princess can be played by a black girl.
I love that.
Yeah, no, because it's one of those things. Then, like, somebody out there is going to start doing that mental math. Like,
wait a minute.
Oh, hold on.
Trade baskies.
Yeah, back up. No, yeah, that's real good stuff. I'm completely fine with this. I definitely have like held the opinion before that like instead of changing existing characters, like write new and interesting ones, which like I get that argument, and I don't necessarily like disagree with it, but at the same time like I'm chill on it. Like more representation just sounds great to me in whatever form it comes in.
It's a damn mermaid, guys. Like I don't care. Like you've already have my suspension of disbelief enough. I don't care.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things. People are just upset that they're taking a traditionally white character and changing.
Because I had a conversation with somebody very close to me, and she was kind of like, "Well, it's just a weird choice." And I'm like, if they do a movie about George Washington and they cast Idris Elba, yes, you messed up. Like, but that's a real life situation right there. This is a fictional movie where we have a fish singing a song.
And a crab.
Yes! And mermaids! Like, it goes back to the whole turtles thing whenever me and Shannon got in an argument. And I'm like, I'm sorry that your 10-foot tall mutant turtles aren't realistic enough for you. Like,
they were very realistic in Michael Bay's.
Yeah, but Uncanny Valley is a thing.
Well, yeah, but
that's another discussion.
It's one of those things where it's just like, I don't, like, and maybe I'm just too whatever about it. Like some people, and like, well, I mean, if you're there's no way you're still listening to the show if you're like that. But like, if you're just like, well, this Turbo Lib, I'm like, no, I just don't care. Like, if my thing is, can she sing? And I've heard her sing live apparently.
Ace's phrasing on it is just about perfect. Like, I'm just kind of chilled out on it. Like, I do not care. Yeah. Like, I'm happy that there's representation for.
Yeah, I see this as a net positive.
Yeah, net gain. Like
if you're upset that she's black, go watch the cartoon.
That still there.
Exist
because that's the thing is it's just like okay, like if you don't want this version of Ariel, good news. You will still be like
Ariel's still white.
They
like
are
in
not.
the cartoon.
And literally every other form of the Little Mermaid. Pre-2019.
Yeah, you can. They are not rounding up those DVDs and VHSs and mass burning them.
Gonna take my DVDs.
It's not gonna be well, they might remaster it and do that.
First they come for your guns, then they come for your Little Mermaid videos.
If you can't tell, it's ridiculous if you're upset by it.
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Especially when you look at some of the things that's going on, like in real life, that are affecting actual humans, like. This is a weird hill to die on.
Yeah. Find a different hill. Just let the Little Mermaid be black. It's fine.
It's cool.
It's cool.
Yeah.
Like there are other Disney princesses. It's fine.
Like almost all of them.
All but one. Well, I guess now there's like 3. But
God.
Yeah. White genocide.
They're coming for us. Hard right, Jay.
Hard right, Jay. All right, so moving on from there, we've got. We need to finish this part up here. Akira is getting a 4K remaster, as well as a new anime.
Awesome.
So yeah, April 24th, 2020. It's going to be the Japanese release of the 4K version. Anime.
That's the one that I got confused because this is also getting a movie, isn't it?
Yes, this is getting a live action movie in 2021.
That's what I'm okay.
By Taika Waititi.
My brain did the same thing it did last time we talked about that release or that announcement where I was like, we just got this. But that was Alita, Battle Angel.
This time it is Akira and Akira. It's just the redo it like a 4K remaster of the original, which came out in '88.
Now is that kind of what they did with Evangelion?
Yes.
That just hit Netflix, like they kind of redid it.
Yeah, Netflix has the HD versions.
Okay.
With I think the alternate ending, but I haven't actually looked into what's on Netflix. I just know they just recently added it to it.
It's just I remember the only reason that stands out to me is because this now seems like one of those like for anyone who likes anime, like who's like super into anime, Akira and Evangelion are pretty much the two of just like these are the must see, like they are on a pedestal.
Yeah.
At least with them, the phrase I keep seeing with Evangelion is it's great until it's not.
Yeah, they definitely, those two IPs certainly have the most rabid fan bases. Like they are enthusiastic is probably a better phrase for it.
More friendlier.
Like anybody that I know that's a fan of Evangelion is a fan of Evangelion.
Yeah.
And that's anyway, not really the point. But they're also going to they're going to do a new Akira series though, not a movie. And they're kind of like Full Metal Alchemist brotherhooding it, in that it's going to be based on the manga, which the movie obviously could not be based entirely on the manga because it was a 2-hour film, and it's real hard to fit that much content into 2 hours. So, yep, that's going to do it for Movies and TV. This next portion of our podcast brought to you by our wonderful friends at Villanos Grounds in Perryville, Missouri. Stop by there for all of your comic book needs. They will take good care of you. Walking Dead has ended with issue 193.
The comic book. It's
This
very
is-
Comic book. It's actually very important that they have specified the TV show and everything else
The 3 spin-offs.
are all still
No,
going.
2 spin-offs.
Is there 2 spinoffs?
Yeah, it's there's Fear the
Fear.
Walking Dead, and then there's another one that was announced.
Oh yeah,
that
there's
is-
one coming up with Rick.
Yeah. No, those are movies. There's
Okay.
movies coming because anyway, and then there's another one that's more along. It kind of is like Fear the Walking Dead, except without the time jump. Like it's gonna stay like right at the beginning
Okay.
of everything apparently.
But it's nuts,
got a name.
the comic books ending.
And it's nuts how it ended, because this is fascinating. There are fake solicitations for issues 194 and 195 that they released. He did not want, like, he wanted people to not know that this was the final issue. And so on Tuesday is when that news leaked that, oh no, tomorrow's issue is, so like comic book stores are getting slammed with calls because now you got these people who aren't pulling it regularly, but like a collector's item, I have to have first printing of the last issue. And so this has been like nuts. IGN posted the full letter that he included at the very end of the issue, minus like IGN took out various parts that were like spoilers for that issue. But it's like a letter of how he's known for a while that this was it. Like and he tells the story of how he came to that realization, like, man, he could have gotten to 300. What a nice, beautiful round number. But the more he thought about it, the more he wrote out. No, he said 300.
God.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, like, 200 sounds right, because issue 193.
Because that's what I also thought. I'm 90% sure he said 300 in the letter. But
he could have done more issues. Regardless.
But yeah, he could have kept it going longer and longer and put it off. But then he's like, no, it's like with a character when it's I don't want it to end, but the story requires it to end.
Yeah.
He doesn't want it to turn into a filler, like we talk about with like Dragon Ball and all that, where it's just like, okay, there's this thing, but like it's not all there. Like it's not what's great. And he could have done it, and he could have made it great, but so if anything, even if you're not a fan of The Walking Dead, like that's not a franchise that I particularly care about, but like that letter was very, very touching and very, very honest.
I made it to issue 100, and I enjoyed the comic book so much more than I enjoyed the TV show.
I made it through the first compendium, and I don't know what issue that hit, but
it was like 1 through 50, I think.
I read it. Well, it was through the prison. So I think it was longer than that.
I would have to go
But I
back
don't
and
know.
actually look.
It doesn't matter. I made it through that first compendium, and I was good. Maybe it's because I read that much of it in one, like not in one sitting, but like in one stretch, and it was just like, man, that is a bleak, beat you over the head with sadness story. There ain't no uplifting, like happy ending. That is
This is a story about the zombie apocalypse.
and it's not a good time
Uh-uh.
for anybody, and especially the people you like.
Yeah, because the comic book obviously ends up quite a bit different than the TV show really fast. Because I mean, the TV show definitely did a big thing of like catering more towards like fan desires than what the source material. So yeah, either way, it has ended. If you want to pick up that issue, it's going back for a second round of printing. They have already had to order a second round of printing. Because like I said, collector's item. You know, people want that final issue, especially since it came out of nowhere. Also, semi-coincidental timing here. One of Robert Kirkman's most popular creations in the Marvel universe, Marvel Zombies, has been announced to return in October.
I'm not being a jerk. Isn't that like his only popular offering to Marvel Comics?
Probably.
I was like, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I think that's the only one I can think of.
It's one of those things. He may have had some other runs. I have no idea. I can't think off the top of my head.
Because I have Marvel Zombies, like the first trade.
And yeah, that was Robert Kirkman.
Yeah.
Obviously did that. So yeah, a lot of people are theorizing that Marvel has known about this for a while. They're waiting on this news. They wanted to hit because Kirkman might be coming back to Marvel for Marvel Zombies, which would be dope. But we have literally no information other than Marvel Zombies October. So if you like Marvel Zombies, which honestly you should at the very least check out the first Marvel Zombies book that was written by Kirkman. Really solid stuff.
Yeah, that was fun. The spin-off stuff is okay if you like the characters they're writing about, but Kirkman really nailed it on the head on his initial
Yeah, it was real fun, real good, like just solid stuff. And obviously it's standalone because clearly those characters aren't zombies, so you can just kind of jump in and read it. And then the last little bit of news here we got for Rooster Teeth fans, Ruby and Genlock. Both of those Rooster Teeth series are being adapted by DC Comics to a comic book form, which honestly at this point I might actually check out Ruby because I've heard the story for Ruby is phenomenal. I cannot get past the animation to watch the story because it's just minus the fight scenes, like the like everything outside of the fight scenes. When I first started watching it, might be better now. I don't know. I'm really sorry if I'm very much upsetting someone, but at the beginning of the series, the in-between fight scenes is virtually unwatchable as you see characters try to grab cups and clip through desks that they're sitting at and all this other like.
Well, I also enjoyed the PS1 era. Counterpoint.
Yeah, well, fair. So, yeah, that's happening. We don't have any other information on that. Just like, if you're a fan of those franchises, keep a lookout because, yeah, I mean, like that. I think that those two properties will do great in the comic book medium. And then the last little thing we'll just hit on briefly. Mad Magazine is officially canceled. I honestly did not know it was still running.
I knew it was still running. How long is it? It's been running for ever.
In the 70s, I think is when it started.
I knew it was still running because just a month ago, they got hit with a pretty credible plagiarism accusation.
Ooh.
Yeah, for one of the comics they published.
Ooh.
So not great. And it's one of those things where it's an institution. Like there wouldn't be a Cracked.
Yeah.
If there wasn't Mad. It was kind of the original.
No, yeah, like Mad TV was definitely a big thing back in the day. Like,
well, big. It happened.
It did happen.
It was big if you knew what it was.
He got reruns on Comedy Central.
And I enjoyed them.
I think if I watched it now, like I can go and watch old Saturday Night Live and be like, this is funny. But if I watched Mad TV, I'd be like...
Some of it, I guarantee you, would hold up.
Like Stewart, I'm pretty sure I would still get a kick out of.
Just not as much as we would like to think.
Yeah, probably not. All right, so then this last portion of our podcast brought to you by our friends at Press Start to Join. You can find all of their content, including social media links, at ps2jshow.com. Last Wednesday of every month is History of Gaming. They've got a whole backlog of pretty awesome ones there. They did not do one for June. However, you can find an episode featuring our very own Asa Gray.
Which is almost as good. I maintain that was a really fun episode. Like a lot of his
I had
Josh's,
a lot of fun with it.
huh?
I had a lot
Yeah,
of fun with
a lot of like the Josh's guest co-star or guest co-host. Those episodes were fun.
So yeah,
I
no,
liked
a
those.
lot of good content out there. ps2jshow.com. Give them a check out. So in video games, not a whole lot this week. We did get the next Cuphead DLC, the Delicious Last Course.
Got delayed to 2020,
Yes,
but that's
did.
fine. Like, take all the time you need because this thing is going to be magical.
Yeah, because I mean, the first Cuphead got delayed for a real long time, and when it finally hit, it really hit.
Yeah, it did. So I'm fine with it. I will get it, of course, day one when it comes out. I look forward to it just beating the hell out of me over and over again.
I need to buy it for my Switch still.
The trailer we only got to see like 2 little screens of new gameplay. Seems to be like ice themed.
Yeah.
At least one of the worlds. I'm super excited. It's clearly going to have the amount of attention and gorgeous art from the base game,
And music
Just now
and
it's just-
like
yeah.
everything else. Like, yeah, no, those guys have clearly done something real special with Cuphead, and they're just keeping to that.
It is a work of art, and now we're just getting more of it. So like I said, take all the time you need. Don't rush it out because it needs to hit that same standard that the first Cuphead did. Anything less than that will be a huge disappointment.
Yep. And I think they are aware of that, and
Yeah.
they're putting that amount of attention into it, which
Yes.
good on them. Yeah, it's good stuff. Like, I still need to beat it.
The only complaint that I have with that is it's like, okay, they're still working on DLC, so that means they're not working on a Cuphead 2. But whatever. I'll take what I can get.
Whatever content's coming this way, like that's fine.
I'll be happy with.
All right, so we also got for Assassin's Creed fans out there. So Trevor and Tanner.
And Asa.
I like this one.
Oh, that's right. You did like Odyssey.
I haven't beaten it yet, and I haven't played any of the DLC yet, but it's a great game.
Well, the final DLC, Judgment of Atlantis, is going to be July 16th. We got the title and the release date on it. I don't know enough about Assassin's Creed Odyssey to tell you anything about that.
I believe the second big piece of DLC, because they've been putting out like constant updates and stuff.
Yeah.
And even free stuff. So like you don't have to like you get these quests and I'm sure certain items and things like that and locations with the paid DLC, but you're still getting like a lot of stuff for free just added to the base game. Like I had a bunch of quests that just like popped when that first DLC hit. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll check those out later probably. Because I do plan on beating it. I just need to beat Horizon Zero Dawn first. Then I'll go back to it probably.
Maybe.
But the second
Except Marvel Ultimate Alliance will be out.
the second yeah.
Gosh darn right it is. I had to censor myself on that one.
The second thing of DLC I think was also Atlantis based.
Okay.
So makes sense that they're going to reuse some of that environment asset, see what I'm not familiar enough with it to really speak on it. That would be like we'd have to talk to Trevor about that on like
Right, because he's definitely
Hype
been one of those kind of guys that's
all in on it.
Every time like a new DLC hits,
And-
he takes like a day off of work, and he's like, or on his first day off from work, he
Mm-hmm.
just really goes into it.
And this is a great like I love the way that they're handling this. Like they are putting a lot of time and effort into Odyssey instead of what we kind of what a lot of Assassin's Creed fans were afraid was going to happen of it's just now a yearly release.
Yep, back to yearly, like
Now it's being nope. It's like all right, we are taking our time with it. We are making a killer game, and hey, here's just more of it.
Yep, which is that's the perfect DLC model.
Yep.
Like that's that Borderlands set right there.
Good on you, Ubisoft.
Yep, good job, guys. All right, so then the last little thing I want to talk about here, we got some new Pokemon news. Just some real interesting stuff here. Alchemy, which this thing is a walking dirty joke, and I don't think Nintendo realized it, or anybody at Game Freak somehow did not realize this.
Which one?
Alchemy.
Oh no! Like
Which
this
one's
one's
that one?
It's the puddle of whipped cream with the 2 berries on the side of its head.
Okay.
It's only vaguely penis shaped.
Vaguely penis shaped is the best kind of penis shape.
And it's one of it produces, the happier it is, the better cream it produces.
The sweeter the cream, because it actually puts like whipped cream. Like
yeah,
it's,
and then they talked about I'm bringing this part up now instead of at the end. They talked about one of the new mechanic to it. We already talked about Dynamaxing, And now we have Gigantamaxing, which is basically a hybrid of the new mechanic Dynamaxing with the last couple of mechanics, the Mega Evolutions.
It's Mega Evolution with extra steps.
Yes.
And apparently, like, only a limited number of them are going to be able to Gigantamax, because that actually does change the way that they look. It changes the appearance, gives them new moves.
Yes.
But they're only, like, so if I catch an Alchemy, that doesn't mean that one's going to be able to Gigantamax. You have to catch specific ones to be able to do that. And it seems like the going theory, because believe it or not, Reddit had lots of thoughts on on the Pokemon info dump that we got today.
Yeah.
But it was it's like it comes from the raid battles. So like you have to catch one of the raid battle ones, and that's the one that you can then is the Gigantamax one.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that's the.
So I wanted to bring.
Yeah,
this
I
up.
just pulled it up because I remember that Lindsay commented it today. So many pastry chefs strive to have alchemy as their partner. That's gross. Like,
it produces, like, you keep it happy, it produces the best cream.
Happier the ditto, the sweeter the cream.
all right, Shannon.
So Gigantamaxing, the reason I wanted to bring up this before the rest of the little bit of Pokemon news we got was because it's related to alchemy. In terms of how gross it is.
I mean, it's already pretty gross.
So it turns into this gigantic wedding cake thing.
Okay.
With alchemy hanging out at the top of it. And then if you...
Go ahead. No, get through it.
It resists physical damage because the more you beat it, it goes from soft to hard. The cream hardens.
So they just...
physical contact.
Game Freak hired an Anthony. Had to really censor that one. But they hired an Anthony, and he did his work.
They hired a Dalton.
They hired a Dalton, yeah. And he was just like, what can I come up with that is dirty, but not dirty?
Yeah.
Because, like, if you gave me, like, 3 days and been like, come up with the most dirty, unintentionally dirty Pokemon you could, it would be so... That's so thinly veiled. That's something I would have come up with.
It's so bad. Like, it's so bad.
It's a pile of cream, and then it's going to Gigantamax. I just came up with that. Into a wedding cake. But you can't hit it. It's just going to become hard. Do you get it? Do you get it?
The more you beat it, the harder it gets.
And that's why I couldn't, like, and Matt Dalton is way better than me, because, like, he had to pitch this not laughing. Because I'd have been like, all right, so it's going to become a wedding cake. Which, like, all right, this is Pokemon. That's not super out of ordinary. Like, we have a pile of trash as a Pokemon now.
We also had an ice cream cone before,
yeah,
so
so
even
like,
desserts aren't off the table.
Wedding cake's fine. But the phrase, the more you hit it, the harder it becomes... Like, had to have gotten said, like, in a better way, like...
Well, yeah, no, it has an ability, Sweet Veil.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, and he's a better human than me.
And it resists physical damage because as you hit it... yeah, anyway.
You have to...
so the other Pokemon...
You have to emotionally damage it, become soft.
So the other Pokemon... or showed a picture of your great Aunt Sally. The other Pokemon...
Just keep a picture of Yogi Berra in your pocket at all times.
Duraludon and Roly-Poly were the other ones we got. Duraludon, I really hope that's not like I hope it evolves into something because it looks kind of goofy, but it's a steel dragon, which sounds cool.
It looks like a bad Power Ranger Zord.
Someone posted it looks a lot like the rock type from Sun Moon or XY. Like the blue and orange one with the stalactites. Looks a lot like that. My favorite one, though, was, Mom, can we get Dialga? No, we have Dialga at home. Dialga at home.
Oh, Jesus.
Duraludon.
Mm-hmm. And then Roly-Poly looks fine. Like, that's probably my favorite of the three that we got today.
It's a chunk of coal with a chunk of coal that has an eye.
I'm sorry.
And then it rolls around on a chunk of coal.
And it's got like a wheel at the bottom of it, and
that's a chunk.
So
of
that's
coal.
like that looks like.
No, how's that his favorite? Whenever we have Alacream in here,
Alchemy.
Whatever.
That's why she's not going to give you that sweet cream. You disrespect her like that.
Why does it have to be a girl?
I like the way it moves around. Like I like that it's on a wheel.
When I saw the little video of it, it was kind of funny.
And I'm more excited to see like what it evolves into because I'm assuming this is like the Geodude of this generation. We got the Gigantamaxing. We also got the Oh,
We got a couple of
blanking-
new the
I'm-
fighting gym trainer.
Yeah, it looks like we're getting version specific gyms this time.
Yep.
With Sword getting the fighting gym trainer and
Shield getting
Shield
the
getting
ghost.
the ghost.
Uh,
May is the fighter.
I think it's B. Like
B. Oh, yeah, it is B.
It's,
It is
B, and then the Crowley, I think, was the or Alistair. Maybe.
It was Alistair.
It's
It was
Alistair.
Alistair, yeah.
Yeah. Alistair is the ghost type.
Yeah.
And that's in Shield, right?
Yep.
Yeah. A lot of people are. There was a lot of comments about like, all right, we'll switch into Sword, because I guess people were on Team Shield, but B is as far as cartoon characters go. Let's just say there's already a lot of content on specific subreddits.
B is Bay.
For B. That's the big phrase going around.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Looks
Yeah.
better than the man-child,
Yes.
ridiculous looking.
Both of these characters, Alistair and B, look awesome.
Yeah.
Like I really like
bums-
their character designs.
I mean, B's probably going to be easier to fight, so I'm fine with her being in Sword. But like, Alistair just looks. I like his design. He's got kind of like a shy
Yes.
guy looking mask, and
you know, he looks really cool. Like he looks like what you'd expect out of a guy that exclusively messes with ghost Pokemon. Super edgelordy, basically. I love
Yeah.
it. I'm all over it. But yeah, no, that was the Pokemon news we got today. All right, guys, I think that's gonna do it for us, though. So thank you for tuning in. I've been on a recent campaign. If you guys don't mind, do what?
you're not going to talk about the MythBusters game trailer that we got on July 4th?
Can you tell us anything about it?
No.
All right, well,
You
that's
can't. What is this thing? Why did it happen? Go out of your way to go to YouTube and just find MythBusters the game official trailer. If it was released on April 1st, I'd have believed it. Because it's just weird animation of various, like, oh, here's the thing. There's no sign of gameplay. There's no voiceover. It's just a why?
All right. Well, before
Why
you
does this
punish
thing
yourself
exist?
with this, head on over to iTunes because I'm finding out about how this stuff works, these metrics. Head on over to iTunes. If you got an iPhone, just pop it open. Find Podzilla 1985. We're on iTunes.
I've already done this. So.
Yeah.
You're looking at me a lot.
because I'm saying Apple.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like and I just zero in on you whenever I
Hey,
talk about
Josh,
Apple.
can you tell Alan to do this for us?
There you
Yeah.
go. Yeah, if you've got an iPhone or whatever, if you got iTunes, just pop on there, find Podzilla 1985. Throw us that 5-star real quick.
Give us the old Asa.
Because the more 5 stars we get, the more reviews we get and stuff like that on this, the more visible our podcast becomes. This is one of those things we don't market at all. We rely purely on word of mouth and stuff showing up places. So, you know, the more you guys talk about our podcast, the more you guys review our podcast wherever you're listening to us, the more people that, you know, we can get on this, the more stuff we can start doing. So yeah, just if you could do me that favor, I'd very much appreciate it. It would make me very happy. Then go check out the Mythbusters thing and see if you can make sense of it. And if you
let
can,
Asa know.
if you can, email us at iknowwtf@podzilla1985.com and explain it, because we don't know. We're so clueless on what on earth is happening here. All right, that'll do it for us, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and yeah, we'll be back tomorrow with Mr. 100 and the 5-star man, I believe. Shrug emoji. That's what I'm getting. We'll find out. Hopefully, you guys will have a show tomorrow.
It means what the